them.
To ourselves, we must be truthful to ourselves and stop pampering people. The impunity is too much. I sympathize with them. I would not be happy for the government to owe me for maybe months.
Business community warns passage of 3 new revenue bills could collapse the private sector.
The government should not sacrifice the survival and development of the private sector for the sake of the IMF program.
A new patriotic party, NPP, to elect new presidential candidate for the next general elections on November 4, 2023, and parliamentary candidate on February 24, 2024.
We are of the view that these timelines set by National Council is very deep. Well, the consultation processes was very deep, and I think that is going to serve the party very well.
And still to come on CNR Extra, vetting for the Ayawaso West Owogon parliamentary candidate hopeful suspended indefinitely as the party continues the exercise nationwide.
The battle is the Lord's, and I'm going to do my very best to ensure that we have a good margin to prove that indeed we have hold of the support base and that we're ready for 2020.
Once again, you're welcome to CNR Extra here on Citi TV. You can join us with your thoughts, submissions, and comments via WhatsApp line 0204 447033. We are on YouTube streaming there live, and you can join us on Citi TV. Ni Latte Latte. You are welcome to the show.
Thank you, Philip. It's been a while, yeah, but good to be back.
We're going to have fun here today. We have a lot of conversation on the show today. We will do as much as possible our best to bring you all the updates on almost all of the stories. But first, let's go to the Ashanti region, where the school feeding program caterers are complaining that government owed them some arrears and it hasn't been paid.
News checks and some public basic schools in the Ashanti region show that caterers under the government's school feeding program have indeed withdrawn their services as schools have resumed. This comes after the caterers threatened to lay down their tools following the government's failure to pay arrears owed them. Now, the caterers, who are also demanding an increment in the amount the government pays per child daily from 97 pesos to 3 Ghana cedis, say the amount is unsustainable because of the current state of the economy and its accompanying high cost of food commodities. Ashanti regional correspondent Fatih Aminu Ibrahim reports.
In some public basic schools Citi News visited within Greater Kumasi, head teachers confirmed that they are not expecting to receive food for the pupils under the government's school feeding program within the week, as the caterers have informed them that they are not cooking. Some of the head teachers also indicated that several efforts to reach caterers of their schools have been unsuccessful. Speaking to Citi News, one of the aggrieved caterers in the Ashanti region, Dorothy Ofori-Sapon, insists that all caterers in the region are not cooking until government addresses their concerns.
Oh, today we didn't cook. No caterer cooked today, because we are waiting to hear something from the government or from the gender ministry about the payment of the third term and the increment from the 97 pesos. We don't want to hear it again. We want a different price, and so we are waiting patiently to hear from them before we start the cooking. We have heard nothing from them, but we know for sure that something positively will come out.
She added that if government even pays them their arrears and does not increase the amount, they will still not resume activities.
No, they cannot tell us that they will pay without increase the old price, because we are aware that governments have proposed an increment long ago, but the gender ministry are not using it, and we won't do. Personally, I won't do.
You won't do what?
I won't do. Like if they do increase it, I won't cook.
The caterers, in their bid to get authorities to address their concerns, petitioned the Ashanti Regional Minister on Monday, 3rd April 2023, but they, however, expressed dissatisfaction with his response to their concerns. The Ashanti Regional Minister, Simon Osei-Mensah, has, however, justified his reason for reacting angrily to the caterers under the government school feeding program in the Ashanti region when they presented a petition to him on Monday. Speaking to the media, Mr. Simon Osei-Mensah insists that the caterers did not follow due process and were rather protesting at the Regional Coordinating Council, which compelled him to react the way he did.
I think this country, we must be truthful to ourselves. We must be truthful to ourselves and stop pampering people. The impunity is too much. I sympathize with them. I would not be happy for the government to owe me for maybe months, when maybe I borrowed and interest is accruing, and maybe I cannot even feed my family. But we should not use illegality to solve problems. We should solve our problems. We are not in a lawless country. We are in a country being governed by law. That is why we say we are in a democratic dispensation. So you don't just take the law into your hand and start maybe acting the way you want. No, I don't tolerate those things.
Now, basic school pupils in public schools who are expecting to be provided with food from the government's school feeding program have been left disappointed on Tuesday. This is because of the caterers' decision to withdraw their services over government's failure to pay their arrears and their call for governments to increase the amount per head of a child from 97 pesos to 3 cedis. Unfortunately for these people, however, the situation on Wednesday may not be any different if government does not act as early as possible, as they insist that until they receive payment of their arrears and also until government increase the amount to 3 cedis, they are not cooking. For Citi News, Fatih Amin Ibrahim, Kumasi.
The demands made by the caterers for the payment of the arrears and also the increment from 97 pesos to 3 Ghana cedis that they start today has been an issue on the table confronting this particular program. And just a little background to this program. This program, that is the Ghana School Feeding Program, was initiated in 2005 as a social protection intervention in the context of Comprehensive African Agricultural Development Program, Pillar 3, and in response to the first and second Millennium Development Goal. This program actually is to provide one hot meal adequately, a nutritious meal, to the number of people as of the time it was done, and that is in 2005. Some speculated pupils where the figure was given, that is 1,693,698 pupils in 4,881 schools per each school a day. The program provides employment to about 20,000 caterers and cooks nationwide. That is in 2005. The issue has compounded until now. Arrears still is in the coffers that government has to pay. These caterers have been complaining. The Greater Accra branch, as I think last year, also complained bitterly about the issue, asking that it should be increased from 97 pesos to 3 Ghana cedis. One may ask, even as an individual, if you are home, how much do you spend a day on the food you buy? You can spend no less than 10 Ghana cedis. And these children are being given 97 pesos cedis to feed a day. And in this particular report, the issue has been one about the demeanor of the Ashanti Regional Minister, Simon Osei-Mensah, that if these caterers are having issues and they've come to your doorsteps, you should as well try and console them or try and sympathize with them, that you've been working for some time. Your monies haven't come to you, but then government is working around the clock assiduously to ensure that you get the funds at a very good time, that you can go back to work. But for you to pose up this attitude and you expect them to go back again, I wouldn't go back.
Well, I think the minister was unfair to the caterers, and I hear him say that he sympathizes with them. I wonder if he really does, because his posturing, his demeanor do not show the level of seriousness he attaches to the plight of these caterers. No matter how quote unquote, unlawful use, say they besiege your premises. This is not the manner in which you treat such persons. You may want to say that, well, these are persons who were employed or who were given contract by the previous administration, and so you do not want to have anything to do with them. But for Christ's sake, they are Ghanaians in the first place, and if they are crying for what is due them, this is not the manner in which you handle the issue. And his poor handling of this particular issue, I want to believe, is also an extension of government's lack of seriousness to deal with the plight of these caterers. Because look, two issues. The caterers are crying for arrears. They are also calling for increments. And you may want to agree with them because every single commodity, food commodity, has increased on the market. Has increased. And you cannot blame them. And in fact, if you look at the importance of this particular initiative, I wonder at this particular moment, the silence of the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, and even the silence of teacher unions, and even the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service. Well, this may not fall within their ambit, but it has a role to play in the quality of education being delivered. The roles intertwine. Be as it may, you may want to say that this is the duty of the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, because look, a lot of studies have shown that the introduction of the school feeding program has gone a long way to increase child enrollment at the basic level. There are even cases where children have moved from schools that do not have this particular initiative to those that have them, just to get a meal and enroll in school. And you know how important feeding is when it comes to the education of children in the country.
Very, because you can't learn on an empty stomach.
Very. And even the 3 cities these caterers are pushing for me, is even inadequate, given the kind of economic challenges you are faced in this country. And these caterers, we know, owe a lot of suppliers. And if they say they are not cooking, you cannot blame them. You cannot blame them. And you realize that some children go to school just because they know at least they will be given a meal. And so if these caterers are saying that today they are not cooking, it means that some of these children will not even go to school. And the situation started in the Greater Accra region. Today we are learning from the Ashanti region. I will not be surprised that in the coming days, other regions will also join. And I want to say that the Ministry of Gender and Children and Social Protection must speak to this particular issue. This is not the only country that we've seen, school feeding programs being, implemented. The case of South Africa is there, where they've dedicated funds to the rollout of this particular initiative. When Ghana started the school feeding program, it relied heavily on donor support. As we speak, I'm not too sure if this donor support is still coming in. Even if it does, it means that the time is ripe for us to, wean ourselves of this donor support. We know the challenges that have confronted, the Free Senior High School, the buffer stock campaign. Are we saying that is it time for us to get a dedicated food supply for, basic schools and even
this program is even to boost agriculture in this country.
And that was where I was coming to. If government has taken its planting for food and job, policy seriously, maybe we wouldn't have been where we are today. Because the food supplies, even in senior high school, some schools have farms that supply the pantry with food supplies and all that. What is the plan for us to get something of that nature at the basic level? Because we cannot continue to take one step forward and then because of arrears and the low amount of money is being paid these caterers, we may have to go back to square one, and then children will not have meals, enrollment will decline, quality of education will be made poorer, and attendance challenges will also unfold. So for me, I want to hear from the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection what really they are doing about this.
There is a secretariat. That is the Ghana School Feeding Program Secretariat.
They will also operate based on the amount of funds that is being released from the ministry. So if the ministry doesn't give them the necessary funds, I'm not too sure.
That has to come from the finance ministry.
So all of them, and we know the kind of challenges you are facing now. When the EC went to Parliament, as far as the CI is concerned, and also the printing of NIA cards. Then the finance minister said that he's released an amount of money to ensure that NIA print out the cars that are in backlog. So I think wherever the ministry will get their monies from and pay these caterers, because they cannot control.
Have you seen the quality of the food
that is an extension, but the quality is a reflection of the amount of money they get. So if their money is poor, you don't expect high quality food. We may want to talk about that extension, but the point here is that these caterers money, and then the minister must find a way of apologizing to these caterers.
I think he did.
He
apologized.
He should find.
He
should find a proper. He should hold a forum. We saw the education minister addressing the press, telling us about government's achievements in the education sector, and that President Akufo-Addo's achievements in the education sector is uncontestable, is unmatched. I do not think that these issues we are seeing on the education front, as far as school feeding, is also contributing to the quality of
the regional minister, that is the Ashanti regional minister, argues that the caterers didn't go through the right procedure to get.
But two wrongs do not make a right. If somebody didn't use the right approach,
but just a little thought on this is the immediate objectives of the school feeding program is to increase enrollment, attendance, and retention, also to reduce short-term hunger and malnutrition amongst kindergarten and primary school children, and also to boost domestic production. The long-term is poverty reduction and also improving food security in the country. But this is the issue. We wish that the various stakeholders would take it up and address this immediately so that these objectives will be met. Away from this story, and the business community is warning that the passage of the 3 new bills could collapse the private sector. Let's bring you that insight.
Now, the business community in the country is worried that the passage of the 3 new revenue bills could collapse the private sector. The community wants the government to focus on ensuring tax compliance on already existing taxes to rake in more revenue. We have more on this report.
Parliament has approved 3 major tax bills targeted at boosting the sustainable generation of domestic revenue for the country. The bills are the Excise Duty and Excise Tax Stamp Amendment Bill 2022, the Income Tax Amendment Bill 2022, and the Growth and Sustainability Levy Bill 2022. The taxes are projected to complement the government's efforts to raise more than 4 billion Ghana cedis annually. But the business community, led by the president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Obeng, says they are worried that the government's efforts in seeking an IMF bailout coupled with the passage of the bills will gradually destabilize the private sector.
As is always said, the private sector is the engine of growth of every economy. Therefore, its importance cannot be overemphasized. So the government should create an enabling environment that will ensure the growth and sustainability of the private sector rather than overtaxing businesses out of their effectiveness. The government should not sacrifice the survival and development of the private sector for the sake of the IMF program. The efforts of the IMF to support our national economy will amount to nothing if it ends up destroying local businesses.
President of GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obeng, has however urged the government to rather focus on ensuring tax compliance on already existing taxes to rake in more revenue.
But what the government fails to do is to adopt an effective and pragmatic system to ensure compliance with tax payment, as well as rope in all other businesses, entities that have not been captured into the tax net. In fact, there are many leakages in the tax system which lead to abuses and need to be sealed to forestall tax evasion and other related abuses. We still register our disapproval of those new taxes and hereby appeal to His Excellency the President to reconsider our concerns and please revisit the issue.
Meanwhile, some other business associations and companies have lamented the dire impact of the passage of the bill. Importers and Exporters Association, Exim Foods, Chamber of Automobile Association, among others, want the government to engage them.
It has never happened in this country that a government passes a policy or a tax bill. Then you have Chamber of Commerce, Ghana National Chamber of Commerce raising red flags. You have AGI raising red flags. You have GUTA raising red flags. You have Food and Beverage Association raising red flag. You have Import and Export Association. You have GIVE. You have ICHAC. We have QBAC. Clearly, business community are very wild, and I'm quite sure if this petition gets his excellency the president desk, he will definitely make time out of his business schedule to meet with the business community before anything can be done.
As of today, if you wanted to import a 40-feet container of poultry, you would most likely pay between 400 and 450,000 Ghana cedis as duty. Like, if you look at the way the numbers are skyrocketing, it is clear that this whole taxation is unsustainable. In my view, I think that the president needs to meet with the business community again. We need to go back, because the solutions are with us. We need to go back and address these things. Else, I tell you what, a lot of people are going to go out of jobs. Business owners are going to fold. People who are working with business people are just going to be...
Business stakeholders or stakeholders in the business industry are reacting after the passage of the 3 revenue bills. They are saying this is going to collapse their businesses. And as well, the president should do something about it. Now it's crossed the line of the passage. Now it's with the president. He has to sign, assent, and finally becomes something that has to be used in this country, or they have to pay for it in this country.
Quite a difficult one, Philip, because this is a government that came into power based on sympathy, I want to put it, looking at how back then the economy was mismanaged, as a lot of people will say, by John Dramani Mahama. And then we had this particular government being led by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, saying that he should be voted for, and that when he comes, he's going to move the economy from taxation to production. Little did we know that we are going to be slapped with a lot of taxes.
But we also didn't know that COVID will come. We didn't know that Russia-Ukraine will come.
Philip.
We didn't know that the twin crisis will come.
Of course, but haven't we moved on? We've all come to bear with the fact that, of course, these twin disasters, or disasters, I want to put it, because they heavily affected the economies of a lot of countries. But let's move away from that, because, Philip, what I find from this particular new taxes that have been passed is that it appears a lot of business community members or groups within the business community were not consulted. And that has always been the problem of this particular government. They always fail to engage. And whenever they fail to engage and people raise a lot of red flags, it appears it blows up back in their face.
And that delays the process.
And look at what happened when it came to e-levy. We were made to understand that e-levy was going to unlock the
financial
the financial and sustainability of our economy, and that is what is required for us.
And when it came to the issue of the debt exchange program as well,
International Monetary Fund. But even when that particular bill was passed, we know where we are today.
Exactly.
We are at the doors of IMF seeking $3 billion US dollars bailouts from the institution, and these new taxes, we are made to understand again, is to help revive the economy and also allow us some for 3.96 in specific terms. And when issues of taxes come, one thing stands out: the fact that government must ensure tax compliance in order to widen the tax net.
And that is what,
because if you introduce taxes and you don't ensure that the loopholes within the tax net are sealed, you will not be able to rake in the needed money that you want. People are evading taxes every now and then. But what is being done to ensure that these people pay the taxes that is owed? All these taxes that we have been made, the amendments, you know that some of these taxes already exist. The income tax, the excise tax, and also the growth and sustainability tax. Some of them are seeing increases. For example, if you take the excise tax, for example, water is going to be levied, wines are going to be levied, tobacco products are going to be levied, e-smoking devices are also going to be levied.
Okay.
Some of them are seeing an average of 2.5% increase. Others are seeing about 1.7% increase. Others remain the same. Sachet water, every single item on the market is going to see an increase. If you take the growth and sustainability, that is where a lot of the issue is. You realize that banks are going to see a 2.5% increase in profit before tax. Non-bank institutions, petroleum sector companies, those providing services in that regard, telcos, all of these things, and even the 1% gross production tax, which is going to be slapped on, oil and gas companies as well as mining companies, and also all other entities who do not fall within the category of the first category A and then category B are also going to see 2.5% increase in the tax they pay before profit. And what is the generality or totality of all of these? The consumer will always bear the brunt. Employers or producers will always shift the burden of tax when it becomes necessary to the consumer. That is why a lot of these labor unions are raising concerns that the tax is in bad taste. But be as it may, looking at where we find ourselves, these taxes have already been passed. That is why a lot of economists and labor analysts fear that there's going to be a lot of job losses, and also a lot of businesses are going to fold up. And so for me, it's a difficult moment that we find ourselves in, especially looking at how the government has tied this particular bill to the IMF, board approval and also economic recovery. We've seen a lot of things. Debt exchange, we saw the same thing. E-levy, the same thing. But still, it appears we are where we are. We have not seen much improvement. We are marking time. We've not seen much improvement in the economy. Inflation is still going high. Producer price inflation, and even the monetary policy rate by the Bank of Ghana, it keeps increasing. And we do not know when this is going to end, the end of this for us as citizens who voted for a government to relieve us of the economic quagmire. But it appears the burden keeps increasing every now and then. And when you go to the market or you are seeking services and you realize that things are going up, but one thing remains constant. Salaries are not being increased. So you cannot blame employers because they are also,
the operational cost of the employer has increased.
Is increasing. We have seen an increase in the prices of utility. Water has gone up, electricity has gone up, cost of doing business, and so the government must help. And so for me, if the NPP holds a press conference like they did yesterday, and then their chairman is Stephen Intim is saying that NDC is being honest. Be as it may, the opposition party, this is what is expected of them. But we as Ghanaians are also feeling the brunt. Everything that is happening is having...
You mean the Ghanaian is able to read in between the lines?
Of course. Of course. Ghanaians are discerning enough to know what is happening at every material time. And so for them as a party that is seeking to break the eight, this is not the time for them to be shifting blame. This is the time for them to give assurances. Mind you, the NDC should not also rest on its horse and say that given the mismanagement of the economy it is done deal for them. And so they are coming back in 2024, if it does happen, to come and also tell us that, well, we inherited a poor economy. The politician needs to do better.
You mean the blame game is too much?
Yes.
Well, you can also join us with your thoughts, submissions, and comments via WhatsApp line 0204 447-033 as we discuss these stories. You're still watching CNR Extra here on Citi TV. Still to come. New Patriotic Party NPP to elect a new presidential candidate for the next general elections on November 4, 2023, and parliamentary candidate on February 24, 2024. Stay with us. We're back with more stories.
Hi there, my name is Anita Erskine. Now I know things are a little tight, but how about I share a few tips with you on how to be a good Samaritan without spending a dime. Identify a situation where financial support is crucial. It could be a student who needs a top up on school fees, a community that needs to build a clinic, or a school that needs to finish up a classroom block. Find out how much is needed and write it down. Look at yourself in the mirror and smile. Find your favorite outfit and join me on stage for Ghana's favorite game show, How Can We Help You? With over 400,000 Ghana cedis and cash prizes already given out, Season 2 of How Can We Help You is back with more exciting games and bigger prizes to play for. Stop giving excuses about making a difference and step up to the plate. We'd be so excited to see you because How Can We Help You is not just an exciting show, it's also about changing lives. So it's game on! Proudly brought to you by First National Bank.
First National Bank. How can we help you?
Showing on Citi TV every Saturday at 6 p.m. Repeats on Sundays at 12 p.m.
Welcome back. This is CNR Extra on Citi TV. Let's bring you some more stories. And the LPG Marketers Association is promising a further decline in the price of LPG if the price of the commodity further sees downward trends weeks to come.
Still on prices, the LPG Marketers Association says consumers may continue to see a decline in the price of LPG if the price of the commodity further sees a downward trend weeks to come. Now, the price of LPG from Monday has declined by 5%, with the product currently selling at 12 cedis 40 pesos per litre from last week's price of 13 cedis 20 pesos. Now, this is the third consecutive time price of the commodity has seen a marginal drop in 2023. Now, the following report by Citi News' Nana Kweku Eduama Ansa has more. Kweku, what more can you tell us?
Right, so this is a 14.5 kilogram of cylinder, gas cylinder, and it is widely used in the various homes for domestic purposes. Some years back or some months back, I'm sure you wouldn't fill this particular cylinder not more than 100 Ghana cedis or at most 150 Ghana cedis. Well, times have changed now because you have to cough out more to be able to fill the cylinder to the brim. Let me just run by you the cost of the 14.5 kilogram of cylinder. It says that 198 Ghana cedis is what you will need to be able to fill the 14.5 kilogram of cylinder for use.
This trend has been attributed by stakeholders to the falling value of the local currency over the period. However, in the past 2 months, the price of LPG has been declining, with a recent price adjustment pegging LPG at 12 Ghana cedis 40 pesos per litre from the 13 Ghana cedis 20 pesos per litre price the commodity was sold for weeks ago. With the first pricing window for April taking effect, the price of LPG has seen another marginal drop by 5%. This decline in monetary terms is almost 2 Ghana cedis on a litre of LPG. Stakeholders like the LPG Marketers Association says the drop is as a result of a decline in the price of the commodity on the international market. However, Gabriel Kumi says the hope of seeing a further price decline of LPG depends on the gains the local currency makes against other foreign currencies.
We are just hoping and praying that government will continue to hold the strength of the cedi against the dollar. So far, for the past 1 month or so, it's been relatively good, though it's not where we want to be. But I think government has really done well over the past 1 month in strengthening the cedi. We want to encourage government to continue in that fight. That is the only way. Because the price of crude oil on the international market, we can't control it. Okay, the price of finished product on the international market, we can't control it. The only way, the only element, the only area we can control is our city. So once we keep improving and strengthening the city.
Despite the marginal price decline, consumers do not seem happy about the trend. This consumer has been left with no choice than to fill his 14.5 kilogram cylinder in bits because he can't afford to fill it in full.
I just feel 70 Ghana cedis of gas right now.
Is that full?
No, it's not full. Maybe, I'm not sure it will even reach half of it, but it's because I don't have, and the price is too expensive too. Like in the old days with the 70, I could fill almost the full, but now, yeah, I can just afford maybe the half or something like that.
But with this one, how long are you going to use it? How long does it last when you fill 70?
It depends. If I cook a lot, like I can, maybe it can keep me like 3 weeks, but if I don't cook, maybe I can go over a month.
Another customer whom I spotted at the filling station was also concerned about the cost of LPG in recent times.
Despite the downward adjustment in the price of liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, consumers do not seem too much enthused about this development. They say that a further decline in the price of the commodity will go a long way to help them. Reporting for Citi News, my name is Kweku Ediama Ansa.
So the decline is good, but like Oliver Twist, we will still ask for more. The consumers and the customers, we always want things to be reduced. That is the price. But I think it's a good move for that from 13 cedis 20 pesos to 12 cedis 40 pesos, and we may see a further decline if the cedi keeps on gaining more grounds, strengthening, and also if the price on the international market keeps reducing.
Rightly so, Philip. We are just hoping that this particular reduction will be sustained or the price will go down.
We're looking at the sustainability.
Well, that's what we can only hope for, because we cannot say that we expect it to go up in the coming day. We don't want to be pessimistic here. But why we are raising this particular issue is about the fact that a lot of conversations have come up encouraging people to use LPG as an alternative source of fuel, given the fact that charcoal use, firewood use, its implications on air pollution and also climate change and all that. And you can only encourage people to use LPG as an alternative when the prices are affordable. People can afford, and there is also the reliability of that. And so over time you realize that when the marketers are saying that prices are going up, consumers will also say that, well, the prices must come down for them to also afford, else they go back to the use of charcoal that we are discouraging people from using. So,
and not only the LPG, fuel prices have also...
In general.
We've seen a marginal reduction in the price of fuel, the super and the diesel, which is also a good move from the various authorities.
So this is generally because of the appreciation of the Ghana cedi and also a relative reduction in the price on the global market, and not good for oil, right?
Well, I don't know. Like the gentleman made mention of in the report, the Nipas are outside. So we definitely have to laud government for this. But there are more issues that have to be addressed, and also further reduction. Well, we accept it. Let's move away from this story and bring you stories from the political space. First, starting with the New Patriotic Party, that is the NPP, to elect a new presidential candidate for the next general elections on November 4, 2023, and also parliamentary candidate on February 24, 2024.
Now, the governing New Patriotic Party, that's the NPP, says extensive consultation was done before the party arrived at its dates for the presidential and parliamentary primaries. The NPP has agreed to elect a new presidential candidate for the 2024 elections on November 4th, 2023, and parliamentary candidates on February 24th, 2024. Now, Citi News' Samit Wiafe has more.
3 separate meetings to agree on a date for the party's presidential and parliamentary primaries have all ended inconclusively. But at a National Council meeting on Monday, the NPP agreed to elect a new presidential candidate for the 2024 elections in November. Per the new timetable, the party will open nominations for presidential aspirants on the 26th of May and close on the 24th of June 2023. The party will also open nominations for parliamentary aspirants in orphan constituencies, that is, constituencies without sitting NPP MPs, on the 16th of June and close nomination on the 14th of July. In constituencies with sitting MPP MPs, nominations will open on December 20th and close on January 4th, 2024. Elections will be conducted a month after, which is the 24th of February 2024. National organizer of the MPP and a member of the National Council, Henry Nana Boachi, explains to Citi News what went into the decision.
There were a lot of issues we were considering, whether to even hold all of these primaries together in one day, whether to hold orphan constituencies where we have MPs, or the presidential primaries together. So all of these considerations, all of these permutations were considered. And at the end of the day, I think that we have concluded on what is beneficial for the party and the government. So for the party, we start with government. We need to look at government programs. And don't forget that it is the party that gave birth to government. So we cannot just set dates without the involvement of government and other major players in this whole matter. So yes, if you ask me, that is it. A lot of things went into it. These are some of the considerations that went into it. And then yesterday we had the timelines. So fortunately,
he added that the new presidential candidates and parliamentary candidates will have enough time to campaign despite the late election.
We have our constitutional, there are constitutional ramifications, right? So if we are in opposition, you do your primaries 2 years before the time, 24 months before the time. If you are in power, you have a time limit, 11 months before the general election. So we are still within the time. So we don't look up to the NDC. The NDC are making their own mistakes. They are creating their own problems. They are creating their own cracks. So that is them. For us as the New Patriotic Party, I've just mentioned to you, Sammy, that we look up to a lot of factors. We are a party that has formed government, so we take a lot of things into consideration. We are of the view that these timelines set by National Council is very deep. Well, the consultation processes was very deep, and I think that is going to serve the party very well.
So the New Patriotic Party has slated November 4, 2023 for the presidential candidate elections, and also February 24, 2024 for the parliamentary candidates, but not without issues, because the party came out with a statement that bars national, regional, constituency executives and MMDCEs from contesting in the constituencies where the party has sitting MPs. And they have asked them to, if they want to contest, they have to resign from their positions if they want to contest. And the MCE for Asokore Mampon, that is Kennedy Kankam, is suggesting that the party, that is the MPP, should also prevent government appointees from contesting in the party's parliamentary primaries.
So essentially, what is good for the group?
Is this a way to protect?
Obviously, it's just a way to protect, sitting MPs, and you know how when sitting MPs are unseated, sometimes it leads to cracks within the party and all manner of things. So I think it's a way of protecting the MPs. But what's the beauty of democracy? That everybody contests for the best possible candidate, or the most suitable one is elected. And so I do not know the actual mind behind this particular decision by the party, the reason actually, but essentially is to protect the MPs. And for me, I just want to extend this particular word of caution to the NPP as a government, because the manner in which they handle this particular presidential and parliamentary primaries will go a long way to tell us about their preparedness or readiness to break the eight as they want it to be. And so for me, earlier developments came and that there were issues, they were unable to settle on the date. Today the path has been cleared. The National Executive Committee or Council has also laid out when exactly all these things are going to be made based on what they deem as fit. And so we want to wish the party well. Let's see how they are able to conduct this particular presidential primaries, because at least, if for nothing at all, that two ministers have resigned ostensibly to go and focus on their presidential ambitions. Well, yesterday we also saw Vice President Bawumia also put something on his Twitter saying it is possible. We do not know what it says.
What exactly the possibility is.
If it's the fact that they are going to break the eight, or if it's the fact that he's going to emerge victorious when it comes to the presidential primaries and also the parliamentary primaries. Let's see what happens as far as their dates are concerned.
Exactly. So we'll keep you posted and updated on the primaries concerning the new patriotic party. You're still watching CNR Extra here on Citi TV. Still to come. Betting for the Ayawaso West Wogwan parliamentary candidate hopefuls suspended indefinitely as the party continues the exercise nationwide. Stay with us. We'll be back with that story.
Hooray! Harvest Praise is 25 years! Come and let's celebrate 25 years of sharing his story and his praise. Ministering at the Silver Jubilee edition is praise and worship legend Don Moen.
God is good all the time.
The young, sensational and anointed minstrel Moses Bliss.
Miracle, no day like Jesus.
And the host choir, the Evergreen Harvest Gospel Choir. As always, Harvest Theatre will deliver a soul-inspiring drama performance. Join us at the UPSA Auditorium on Good Friday, 7th April 2023, 4 p.m. sharp. Tickets, single, 80 Ghana cedis, double, 150 Ghana cedis, and VIP, 150 Ghana cedis. Dial *725*1155# on all networks and buy your tickets now. Tickets are also available at Airport Shell, Bachana Total, Sunny 88.7 FM, and all Harvest Chapel branches in Accra. Children are not left out. Children from ages 5 to 12 will enjoy an awesome experience at the HP Kids session featuring King's Kid, Louis Pascal, Kata Harry, and many more. Entry is free for kids once you purchase an adult ticket. Come, let's celebrate. It's the Silver Jubilee. Harvest Praise. Get your praise on. See you there.
Welcome back. Let's take you to the NDC in the Greater Accra region, where vetting for the parliamentary candidate hopefuls for the Ayawaso West Woggon constituency has been suspended indefinitely.
Champon were expected to have faced the vetted committee on Monday, but the session was rescheduled for Tuesday. After hours of waiting for vetting to commence for the 3 aspirants, vetting was suspended. Citi News' Akosia Otre was at the NDC regional office and brings us more in this report.
It's day 2 of the vetting for NDC parliamentary aspirants within the Greater Accra region, and it's still ongoing here at the regional office of the National Democratic Congress. A number of aspirants have come here already and are waiting to be vetted, waiting to face the vetting committee. And so the people you see here, the people behind me, are supporters of the various aspirants who have come here to show their love and show support to their aspirants that they wish that will lead their constituency in the upcoming election. And so these are the people behind me. Now, to my right is the vetting room, where we have a 6-member committee together with the regional executives spearheading this particular vetting. And so this is where it is happening. Supporters are not allowed in there. They have been restricted. About 11:30 due to the early rains that we experienced in the early hours of Tuesday. And so, as you can see, a number of vetting aspirants have come out after their vetting, and they have been speaking to Citi News. Well, some of them are sitting members of parliament, and they have been speaking to Citi News, touting their achievements since they took office, and how hopeful they are that they may win this election hands down.
It's been 2 years, and within these 2 years, by the grace of God, with the support of the people, I have been able to deliver on more than 80% of the promises I made within 2 years. Even though the promises were supposed to last for 4 years, I have been able to deliver. But what you see is part of the euphoria, the anxiety, the desire to see the party in power, and then people wishing to be part of that victory and success. And so many people will show up, not maybe because of hatred, but they also want to grab a position.
Well, this is not the first time I satisfy the criteria. That's why I'm representing the NDC as a member of parliament anyway. But some of the questions were with regards to embarking on a clean campaign, which for me is nothing new. That's what I've done since I started campaigning anyway. Your contenders? I think I'll speak for myself. The people of the constituency have seen what I can do. They've seen what I'm capable of, even as a member of parliament in opposition. And so I believe that the battle is the Lord's, and I'm going to do my very best for 2024.
I know what I've done for the people of Ashaman, and they believe in me. And so all those who are coming, I think they are also coming to try. They should also be in the system for the delegate to know that after my tenure of office in the future, they may also be relevant. But I don't see any of them as my strong contender.
Some new aspirants who are just coming on the block, who are for the first time contesting the seat, are also hopeful of snatching the seats from some incumbent members of parliament, and also some of them also wishing that they would get 100% votes in the election come May 13.
I would say that they asked me of my where I am coming from and where my branch is, whether I've been a branch executive, and sure, I was a branch executive, a communication officer. Apart from that, they asked me about my profession. Actually, I'm a medical practitioner, and I practice in my community, and I've been helping my people all this while.
I want to do more for my people. I'm already doing it, and I want to do it well and do it better.
I don't think it's a safe competition. Like I've always said, if you've done the right thing, there is no need for you to fear. You understand? My people know me, and I know them. I have mingled with them. I've been amongst them, and they know what I'm coming to do for them.
So information that we are getting from close sources is that the vetting for NDC aspirants in Ayawaso West constituency has been suspended until further notice. Reporting for Citi News, Akosia Ochre.
The 3D exercise, that is the vetting exercise, started on Monday, yesterday, and is ending today. Let's go live on the phone lines and speak to my colleague, Akosia Ochre, who is at the NDC regional office at Southland, to bring us up to speed what is happening there. Akosia, good morning. What is happening at the regional office today?
Yes, today is the last day for the vetting, and the vetting committee requested 37 aspirants from Legislative Sama East, Ayawaso North, Ladade Kotopo, Ablekwa South, Domiabra Obom, Sama Central, Sama West, Okankwe South, and West Bawe. And so initially the schedules that had been made available by the vetting committee indicate to every aspirant that they are supposed to get here. And so they were supposed to have started the vetting at 9 in the morning, and maximum an aspirant takes about 15 minutes to finish with the vetting. I'm telling today that was not the case. On Monday, we realized that the same thing happened, but it was due to the early rains that we experienced in the morning. But today there was no rain, and so we were expecting that the committee would start the session at exactly 9. But that didn't happen. It started 2 hours later. That's 11. And so it made a lot of pressure come here at the regional office, because when these aspirants are coming and they are coming with their supporters and members of their constituency. And so if it didn't start at 9, the first people who were supposed to have started Lejokuku at 9 o'clock came here with their supporters and were still here. Then the Kama East follows, and then the Iwato North subsequently following, all coming here as well with their supporters, making a lot of pressure come here. And so there was a little bit of the back and forth with...
I was about asking you about the back and forth. In our short, we noticed that some little confusion was at the regional office. If you could explain to us what exactly the situation relating to the confusion was.
All right, Philip, on Monday when this whole exercise started, the web provisions made available for a policeman to be, or security to be at the entrance of the regional office, ensuring that only the aspirants and just a few people, talk about 2 or 3 people who matter to the aspirants, are being allowed to enter the regional office. But unfortunately, since yesterday and today, I haven't really seen any security made available to man these entrances, and also to ensure that all these supporters who come to support their aspirants are not allowed in there. And so that is the gap in here, not only security available, and so everybody wants to have access to the main office. Now, when they come inside to Philip, they also want to have access to the dressing room, which is being restricted, and so that's where the confusion comes.
Well, Aguzia, many thanks for your time. Keep posted there and keep us updated concerning the vetting at the regional office of the NDC, the Greater Accra Regional Office. Today is the last day, hopefully. My conversation with the General Secretary of the party, the Greater Accra region, Tete Chai, who is also a member of the vetting committee, he says that they are hopeful of ending the process today.
Well, rightly so. And so if they've been able to conduct it in a manner that there is no aggression, there is no concerns, a lot of people are satisfied with the process, with the exception of the fact that someone was disqualified and the person is threatening to run independent to ensure that the party loses the seat. We will just be keeping an eye on the NDC presidential and parliamentary primaries come May 13 here at Citi FM and Citi TV. And so we want to wish the party well.
All the best. And May 13 is when delegates will decide who becomes the presidential candidate for the NDC and also parliamentary candidates for the NDC. This is how we wrap up today's show. That is a CNR Extra here on Citi TV. My name is Philip Nilate. I did this with me, Latte. Many thanks for your time and keep watching Citi TV.